In today's journey, we show you how to clean like a professional by using a CIP head to COP. The only real difference is where we're doing the cleaning, as CIP means clean in place and COP means clean out of place. But before we get into the where and how, let's get into the why. And we can't do that without talking about the center circle. That is when the combined powers of time, chemistry, temperature, and mechanical force synergize for the ultimate cleaning experience, more or less. And what's neat is by increasing one, the need for another decreases. For example, the hotter the water, the less time we need, or vice versa. Meaning, by maximizing our mechanical force by using a pump, we are maximizing our cleaning potential. And what's great is with a little ingenuity, you can actually use these to clean almost anything around the brewery. I use this big pump here as a keg washer and general COP, where this small one I use mostly for sanitizing and for running my wort chiller. An added benefit of having two different pumps also makes cross-contaminating the chemicals a lot easier to avoid. Also, for your convenience are links to any of the products shown in the video below. The biggest decision in this project is what pump to use. The pump in the sanitizer build is nice and compact and about half the price of the keg washer pump, but only moves about a third of the amount of water. It is powerful enough and more powerful than most of the pumps we've seen in other off-the-shelf products that we've seen, but you will find that it can be a little lackluster when in comparison to the larger pump, especially when it's currently set up in the single point sprayer mode, such as most of the off-the-shelf products are always. But since we are in a visual media, let's show, not tell. And as you can see, it does get good coverage and would clear off any loose debris on the inside, but it's not really adding a lot of mechanical force as compared to what we could be doing. However, this is still leagues ahead of just soaking in cleaner, as we are at least getting the mechanical force of the cleaner running across the surface. But if we're going to go through the effort of building one of these, we may as well add on a spray ball head. The one on the right is a nice cheap one we got off of Amazon, and the one on the left is a fancy one from Spike. They both benefit by being a low pressure spray ball, but the Spike one benefits from being able to fit into a 1.5 inch tri-clamp opening. But let's see how they both do on the small pump. And as you can see, pretty effective. So if the thing that's been holding you back from this project is knowing if the ball head's going to work with the pump, then these are the ones I bought down below in the description. And if we think back to the center circle that we talked about earlier, this may have less power than the bigger pump, but we just run it for longer. But let's say that you did want to go all the way, and you did want to get the big pump. What would that look like? And that's a clean you can hear. You can also see that the cleaning agent, PBW in this case, is also being agitated a lot more. So one could actually say that this is a dangerous level of cleaning going on here. If anything were to go wrong, such as powering on the pump when the vessel to be cleaned isn't covering the spray ball, well, I hope you're wearing your eye protection. Because with great power comes the need to respect safety equipment. But regardless of which pump you decide to go with, I think you'll be happy with either. You just will probably want the bigger one. And just like how you don't need to make your whole thing out of stainless steel, you don't need tri-clamp fittings, but they sure are versatile. You could, of course, hard plumb so that you have exactly what you need and nothing extra, or you can invest a little extra and have additional adaptability. Tri-clamps are the connector of professionals, and that has to do with their incredibly easy to use design, and also you can swap whatever you need at a moment's notice. And just for fun, let's go through a couple options. You can have any sized barb, which can be used for a single point spray pattern, or you can hook up any hose, or link it to any other device that needs to be fed water from one source to another. These male-threaded half-inch NTP tri-clamp adapters are great for using accessories such as the spray ball that we were using earlier. Did you ever wonder how you were supposed to clean a picnic tap assembly? Or maybe you're finally getting into cleaning your draft lines. Probably one of the most underrated tools, a draft line cleaner. And then one of my personal favorites is this elbow that I use to connect the hose to. And at the end of that hose are two ball lock disconnects. You put the spray ball on top, this on the accessory port, you got yourself a full-blown keg washer. So yeah, switching over to tri-clamps can add a substantial amount to the overhead of the project, but it's well worth it in the end. And it is an upgrade that you can add later. What you're looking at now is actually about a year and a half worth of evolving until it became the all-arounder system that I love today. The only thing that I haven't been able to make an adapter for is to make a bottle washer that can wash 24 bottles at once. And if that's all I'm missing in life, I'm doing pretty good. But what this project needs now is a bucket. And there's not really a lot of ways around that, as these are submersible pumps. They have to be submerged in the liquid they're pumping. I actually normally prefer to use a 6.5 gallon bucket, as you require less liquid to submerge the pump. However, some projects may work better with a 7.9 gallon bucket since it is wider. Regardless, whatever you're cleaning will need to be supported above the bucket. I personally find the lid to be suspiciously convenient for this task. It only needs a little bit of convincing with the help of a 3-inch hole drill to drill a 3-inch hole in the center of the lid. It wouldn't be a bad idea to put about 10 1/4-inch to 1/2-inch extra drain holes around the rim. This will help make sure that the cleaning solution returns to the bucket as quickly as possible. And one final note before we move on to assembly. Because cleaning solutions can be harmful, please do not skip out on good quality Teflon tape. The mega tape that we recommend is special because it's 3.5 millimeters thick, or if you prefer, you can use twice as much of the cheap stuff. Either way, look it dead in the eye and wrap the Teflon tape around clockwise. You will want to apply Teflon tape to any union that lacks a gasket or O-ring. Speaking of which, let's get to the part where we assemble it. And since this project has 90% planning, we're almost there. Step 1, pick your pump. We're going with the small one this time because we actually wanted to rebuild it to be more like the big one. Also, the small pump is already a 1/2-inch NPT, whereas you will need to use the garden hose adapter if you're doing the big pump. But once you're a 1/2-inch NPT compliant, pick how long of an extension you want. We're going with a 10-inch. Up next, if you would like an accessory port, now is when you would use a T, with a hex nipple coupling for the ball valve to connect to. This is technically optional if your accessory has an automatic shut-off. We finish off the main line by adding a 6-inch straight pipe and then crown it off with a 1/2-inch NPT to tri-clamp adapter. Then give it a matching tri-clamp adapter to go on the ball valve. And there we have a finished pump just waiting for a sense of duty. This one will be getting a ball lock adapter for cleaning out picnic tap assemblies. And for the main thruster, it will be using a CIP spray ball. And of course, we don't need to tell you that you need to use the gasket and clamp to hold the tri-clamp together. And bada boom, there you have it, a COP family ready to go home for the cleaning. And as we all know, you can't sanitize something unless you clean it first. And clearly, the best way to clean something is to do it the lazy way and have a pump do it. And if you want to keep getting tips on how to be the best lazy brewer you can be, then consider buying some of my art by going to thebvc.smugmug.com, link in the description, as it is the best way to help support our channel. Custom-sized prints will be shipped directly to your door from our printers. For maximum wow factor, I always recommend getting the stretched canvas or metal printed options. Fire was always one of my favorite subjects, and why my studio has more fire extinguishers than average. But I digress. Take safety serious, and you will have more time to do what you love. Don't forget to make sure that you're subscribed. Ta-ta for now.